to our webinar number 2 of our Erasmus Plus Foundation founded product. It's great that all of you have dialed in. And I would say let's start first with connecting to our webinar 1 so that we keep in our mind and remember what we did last time. You remember in our webinar number 1, we discussed quite intensively why ESG nowadays, it's much more than compliance. It's really getting impact into your organization, into your business by working with innovation and with looking forward activities to really create an impact for the environment, but also for your business. Secondly, in our first webinar, we took quite some time to elaborate with you what you can expect from us in our ESG handbook, which we will publish in the months to come. Thibaut will come to this. Now, what is the focus of today's webinar? Webinar number 2. Today's webinar, we focus really on praxis. We want to move from the theory from last webinar into praxis. We want to give you an insight on what kind of tools we have developed in our handbook, which you can use. And they should really help you to drive transformation and innovation in your organization. And we want to elaborate this with you today on how you can utilize this. Now, let's look into the agenda of today's workshop. You will see, first of all, in the coming minutes that we will present again as a team. I have Markus with me, I have Thibaut with me, and Jean-Marc. Everyone will take a little bit of this session today, so you also get to know the people who are behind the handbook. In the part number 2, which I will take care, I will give you an overview on a critical tool, that's the ESG Champion Funnel and the innovation rooms. I will elaborate this to you. And then in part number 2, Markus and Jean-Marc will take on, and they will give you 3 concrete examples, some 3 selected tools, the 3D business model, the value chain, and the circular economy, where you can have an understanding on how our tools could work in your business environment. Then we move into Thibaut's part. He gives you an overall toolbox overview on what you can expect on top on what you've seen today. And then we will go into the Q&A and Outlook session where Markus takes over, and hopefully we will receive some interesting questions from your end. Now, let's move and jump right away into our first very crucial element in our handbook. It's a so-called ESG Champion Funnel. The ESG Champion Funnel describes our journey we have taken in our handbook. It's a 7-step approach which starts to move your crucial as-is business model today in step number 1 to your final to-be business model in step number 7. It's a very dynamic process, and we've decided in our handbook that we focus on the innovative part on this journey. That's basically step number 2 and step number 3, and we call this the innovation space. So we will focus today on the innovation space. And if you look even deeper into the innovation space, we have worked out certain innovation rooms. And the innovation rooms are this area where creative and collaborative innovation takes place around your business model in order to find new ideas with respect to ESG potentials. Now, let's take even a deeper look in this innovation space, and let's open these innovation rooms. Now, an innovation room, what do we mean with this? It's really a collaborative space where you work on your business model and you are looking for innovation ESG. We will use in this innovation space different innovation tools, innovation rooms, for example, a pestle analysis or a SWOT analysis, and also circular economy and value chain analysis activities. And these are tools which you want to introduce to you today. The overall goal always with this tool is to start with your as-is business model, so your situation today, and to add new elements in the future, that you have a new business model, a to-be business model that really helps you to differentiate from your competitors and to create value for your customers, for your company, and for the market. It's important that we know that with this innovation part, of course, only then the transformation starts, because these ideas you generate have to be evaluated financially. They have to fit to your strategy. This is the whole transformation process, which typically starts after this innovation journey. However, we decided today and also in our handbook that we would like to concentrate with you and give you ideas what you can do in this innovation area. Now, again, moving really into business activity, I want to hand over to Markus, and Markus will give you our first tool insight in the so-called 3D business model, which is really innovative and a really important element for our journey. Markus, please.
Thank you, Frank. My name is Markus. I'm a strategy consultant and will explain you now about the 3D business model approach. We know that we are all facing on our planet an enormous transformation. We are in the beginning of what we can call a big transformation. After globalization and digitalization, we witness a huge wave of what we might call responsibilization of business and world society. And in this movement, businesses and consumption play an important role, as the development goal 12 of the UN Agenda 2030 tells us: responsible consumption and production. And already 30 years ago, you see here now the 3D business model approach, which I developed already 30 years ago in my PhD research, analyzing more than 100 community-focused businesses of the economy of communion. And an important discovery was that business models do not only have one dimension, but a business model has three dimensions. What you see here, the yellow, the red, and the green one, three dimensions which people need to manage, managers need to manage and align responsibly, especially when you want to do an ESG transformation or go for impact. So if we want to be successful to manage an ESG business model innovation process, then we deliver you this business model view in three dimensions. And in the inside, you see then the red part, business as usual. And here we have customer segments which are served by a value proposition and which at the end should generate revenue streams for the business. This is seen as the core and the purpose of traditional business as usual, as we might call it. And a business model approach, for instance, covering only the red part in between, comes from Osterwalder and Pigneur. And in my research on the economy of communion and also impact and the social enterprise movement emerging in the past 2 decades, for instance, with pioneers like Mohamed Yunus, show that the purpose of business is not limited to generate profit, which would be in the red part, but it is to create value to the context, the yellow part, meaning creating value to the planet and the societies around the business. And this is the yellow dimension, which we include in our 3D business model approach. And this adds sense and shapes all the red elements. And here, for instance, we have elements like the challenge, what the business, a social enterprise, for instance, wants to solve in society. They want to solve a problem. Or we have also elements like megatrends, markets, competitors, network, and stakeholders. And in our approach, we are not looking only how these elements impact our business model, but we look also how we can positively impact all of these elements outside in the context of our business. And now we are coming to an important innovation of my PhD research, and this is also supported by scholars like Edgar Schein. There's a green dimension, what we call the interpersonal relationship dimension. And this is a dimension which is not immediately visible in a business model, like an iceberg is only visible the part on the surface. So this dimension covers then elements like motivation, values, culture, and also the principle of growth. And recent research showed that if we want to be successful in implementing ESG in the core of a business model, for instance, if we want to come from a linear to a circular business model, as Jean-Marc will tell us later on, we need, first of all, people with the right mindset and the right motivation. We need a corporate culture and a set of values with the capacity of guiding people's creativity towards the common good of society and the planet. And without managing and growing relational capital, as for instance, values and motivation, as we have indicated, we cannot be successful in the ESG turnaround. And finally, you need the element in between. This is governance. And with a strong vision and mission, which are part of governance, including also the common good, and with a servant, participative and transformative leadership style, all the elements of the 3D business model can be combined. And the right governance approach allows the growth of organizations in all of its dimensions. And with this approach, we include the hard hand approach known in holistic pedagogy to business model design and innovation. We add purpose to the business, symbolized with the second hand, serving society and the planet in addition to customers. We add the hard dimensions, focusing on people and their relational capital when serving customers and the planet at the same time. Now we are coming to an example, an application of the 3D business model tool. What you see is now is a 3D business model canvas with its 3 dimensions and its 25 interdependent elements. This is our canvas which we are using when we're doing the ESG business model innovation processes. And as we have mentioned, we have all of these elements available just to analyze it then, and as Frank says, then to create also a to-be situation, a future scenario, including ESG transformation. And here we have, for instance, the example of a carpentry, the Focolare Carpentry Training Center, a community social enterprise in the Philippines, which I analyzed already back in my PhD research. And last year, a group of 10 students has drawn this business model of this enterprise in the Economy of Communion Consulting project, which we run at the Vienna University of Economics and Business. And since this is a mission-driven enterprise, the students have first identified the mission in the middle, and you see the mission is then, for instance, training and employing out of school use through handcrafted carpentry products. This is the mission of this enterprise, and then after that, defining that, you define all the other elements, what you see here also in the slide. And at the end, the students also developed a growth scenario co-created in small groups, and this scenario of the future, including further growth of ESG elements and especially scaling the social impact, includes mainly also the growth in combined with partners in Europe, and also first of all strengthen the financial consolidation of this business. And this might be used, this vision and this paper might be used for managers to define their business strategy over the next years, and also for impact investors if they decide to invest in this business. But our business model approach is not only useful for small and socially oriented businesses, it is also useful for the transformation of big corporations. So here we have the business model of a big furniture retailer, and in this case, a master's student has analyzed this business model. You see already in the gray tags here what this business is already doing in terms of ESG. For instance, there is FSC certified wood, which is important to them, and they offer in the value proposition an affordable furniture to customer segments who cannot pay premium prices. This is also a kind of social dimension. And this business has also, for instance, the objective to be in 2050 climate neutral. But when we analyzed this business, we identified 10 ESG elements which might be part of the development vision of the future. And for instance, these are this retailer can use second-hand furniture. in improving their circular economy level, and they could also start a training of the whole staff. And for instance, they could then work with local suppliers. So as you see the green tags, what we have identified are those golden nuggets, those innovation elements, ESG innovation elements, which can be integrated into the future strategy of this business. This is how we are using our canvas in order to identify and also communicate the ESG business model innovation proposals and strategies. And now we are coming to Jean-Marc, who will tell us something about further tools which we use in our ESG business model innovation approach.
Thank you, Marcus, for introducing the 3D business model. The key takeaway is that to drive innovation, we need tools. As mentioned before, we're going to focus today on the circular economy and a value chain tool. My name is Jean-Marc Ziadé. I'm based in Maastricht, self-employed consultant working with hospitality and tourism businesses, and I'm focusing on the circular and the food transition. So when we talk about a value chain, we go beyond the traditional supply chain. We follow the product from the growers through traders, exporters, production, wholesale, and retail, all the way to the customer and even the post-usage phase. Why? Because with ESG considerations, the chain now also goes further than selling. It includes the second-hand and the refurbished market, because products are re-entered into the system or returned to customers, such as refurbished phones, second-hand clothes, or recycled plastic bottles. Here, transparency and traceability is key, especially as resources become scarcer. Take copper or lithium, for example. Their supply chains are long and complex, making it hard to see where the materials originate and under what conditions the people involved are working. So our innovation model helps us to spot opportunities to boost positive impact and add value along that chain. Understanding which stakeholders can add value at each step is crucial for innovation. Let's look at a concrete case, coffee and cacao. Do you know the average monthly salary of a cacao farmer? Well, it's only $28 per month. So in our current system, most chocolate is produced for quantity rather than quality, feeding the processed food market. On average, there are 22 steps between the farmers and the consumer. If we shorten the trade chain, cacao farmers could sell to small traders or cooperatives, and from there, they can directly sell to the chocolate makers. This is called the bean-to-bar approach. It eliminates many intermediaries. For example, the regional wholesaler, the exporter, the international trader, the larger manufacturer. This creates a more transparent, fair, and sustainable chain. For our previous workshops, we also organized an example with a coffee company. Agatha Coffee also uses this idea of short chains. They created a cooperative in a country where the coffee grows. They promote in their coffee shops the growers and the farmers, and they make sure that they work in fair conditions. And this is going further than fair trade. This is really knowing who is behind the product. So in this sense, knowing the value chain gives way of not only developing social and ecological standards upstream, but also connects the chocolate eater as well as the retailer who sources the chocolate to the cacao farmers, creating a global community of like-minded bean-to-bar chocolate eaters. And I think we all like chocolate here. Now, let's turn our attention to the circular economy tool, specifically here, the value hill. In the circular economy, in a nutshell, for those who are not very familiar with it, it's about regenerating value and extending the lifespan of resources. It's about using resources more often, reusing them, and avoiding any reliance on virgin materials, avoiding waste, and avoiding non-renewable energies. In short, use less, use longer, use again, and make it clean. If we look at the Earth Overshoot Day, humanity is consuming the equivalent of 1.5 planets. What does that mean? That means that the planet cannot replenish fast enough due to overconsumption and overproduction, leading to resource shortages. We only have one planet, so how can we use 1.5 planets? So it's not just an environmental issue. It's about how our human activities strain the Earth resources. So to build a circular system, we must redesign our processes and create new business models. What does this require? Reliable data. For example, the rate of recycling of plastic. It requires leadership to be on board, institutional change, and it needs to focus on innovation from, for example, an academic, social, and technological point of view. Let's look deeper at the value hill and how circularity begins at the product design and continues through the use, reuse, and the recycling. So when we look at the left side, circularity starts with how we design a product, the eco-design, the materials we choose, and how we distribute it. We must design products to last and avoid a quick end of life. Think of a single-use plastic bag used for a croissant. You use it for a couple of minutes and then you throw it away. What we want to do is to extend the usage. So we want to keep the products with the consumer longer. Options here include repair cafes, product as a service models, or bike sharing or car sharing, renting instead of owning. Then we go to the post-usage phase. Before we recycle, because circular economy recycling is the last step, before we recycle, we look at reusing, refurbishing, and repurposing. The arrows on the value hill point back to the consumer. Many items can be fixed first, phones, hotel soaps, furniture, many more, before they re-enter the market. And lastly, the recycling option. The recycling transforms the material into new resources, as we know it very well. So for example, turning old mattresses into new ones, or processing paper and glass into new products. So if we would take concrete example from the sector I am working in, the hospitality sector, the value hill can be applied to hotels across energy, water, buildings, mobility, food, materials, and wastes. So a few examples. There is this startup called Unisoap. It's a French startup. They remanufacture hotel soaps and ships them to communities lacking easy access to soaps. Or for example, there is this hotel that has an indoor ski resort, and they added as a new business model to have second-hand ski rental, which you can also buy afterwards. You can buy also now second-hand ski there. Or for example, hotels for trees, where guests can skip daily housekeeping, and in exchange they can plant a tree. If the guest stays more than 2 nights, the guest can hang a door hanger on the door that says, "Please plant a tree." This saved housekeeping costs and funds the tree planting. So Hotels for Trees, already with 250 participating partners, have planted 800,000 trees in Europe and abroad. So all in all, making steps towards a circular economy requires financial incentives, demand and supply acceptance, institutional support, organizational change, and technological enablers, also with having the right data. So circular economy, it's a systemic shift. It's not an end in itself. It's a tool to redesign system, cut environmental damage, and give us a holistic view of how to profoundly change our overconsumption and overproduction patterns. By doing so, we create a more resilient future and reduce our dependence on finite resources.
Thank you, Jean-Marc, for showing us these 2 innovation rooms, which usually in our process experience trigger a lot of these golden nuggets, a lot of ideas how companies can move ahead on their ESG impact score. Now with this, we come to Tibor, who will tell us a little bit more about our toolbox in general and some other details. Tibor.
Yes, we have already showed some methods and tools how to use more or less traditional strategy approaches for ESG embedded strategy development. Now let's show you a complete set of the related toolbox within a structured framework. A toolbox is a comprehensive collection of marketing and strategy tools and methods used to solve specific tasks or problems, and the well-assembled one offers numerous advantages, such as increased efficiency, better decision-making, and flexibility. As part of our project, we have expanded traditional tools to include the ESG dimension. This allows us to generate ideas for ESG transformation and develop a clear and comprehensive ESG strategy. This slide provides an overview on the toolbox we have analyzed, assembled, and partly even developed during our project. Having a holistic view is crucial for starting a deeply rooted transformation and becoming a sustainability market leader. Therefore, instead of just listing the possible tools, we group them around 5 segments: strategy, market analysis, customer analysis, marketing mix, innovation/market research. For each segment, we show 4 different methods, plus a short list about additional tools, proving that many more methods and tools can be used. Some of them are well known, like the SWOT analysis, but even in that case, leave your comfort zone and use its segments of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, specifically and first even separately for the 3 aspects of E, S, and G, while integrating the outcomes consequently. In some cases, adjustments or even extensions make sense to gain the best fit for the ESG aspects. Like in the case of FESTEL analysis, which we extended by letter C for community, since the focus of the ESG approach is the local community too, not just the overall social environment. Adjust and use the ones you know the best and or believe in the most. And in each case, please note that not only the final outcome is important, but the way, the process to get there too. Through it, the values get reinforced and become conscious core part of your thinking and impacting the company culture too. The tools we just went through were just examples from this comprehensive collection. It is important to remember that every ESG business model innovation process needs to be customized to the situation and requirements of the organization. An ESG business model transformation architect selects the appropriate tools for each specific iteration of the process. I highly recommend you to explore the handbook for additional tools that can support your own ESG transformation projects. We are convinced that our handbook is a valuable resource for guiding your innovation sessions and generating those golden nuggets for the next step of your business transformation. With that, we have presented our tools and showcased the handbook, becoming available in the second half of the year as a valuable resource. Now I will hand it over to my colleague Markus, who will summarize the key points, moderate our Q&A session, and give you an outlook on our next webinar.
Thank you, Tibor. And yes, now we are a small summary of what we have done, and yes, so Frank presented us the method of the ESG Champion Funnel, a powerful tool, a structured process of any kind of what any kind of business organization can run to become ESG market leader and improve their ESG score and establish a competitive advantage and add continuity to a business and any organization. So, and in this strategy process, it starts with a management decision. Then, as Frank has explained, a co-creation phase follows, generating the ESG potential for the business in well-defined innovation spaces and the innovation rooms, which are these strategy tools. And at the end, let's say a business we cannot implement everything. So like in a funnel, only priority ESG elements will be integrated into the business strategy, implemented and monitored. And later on, you can run this process again and achieve even a higher level of ESG impact. And then we have introduced you into this 3-dimensional business model approach, which is enlarging the traditional business model view with the context dimension, the planet and the society around, and also with interpersonal relationships, because my research and our own experience also as consultants has shown that also elements like motivation, values, and corporate culture, and even the growth principle in general, are important to run a successful ESG business model transformation. So to solve the problems which we have on our planet and to create the future. And then Jean-Marc has presented the tools of the value chain and ecosystem and the circular economy value hill, very important innovation rooms, where, as I have mentioned before, where normally in these innovation processes, a lot of new ideas, golden nuggets are triggered of further development. There's big potential, especially in value chain and circular economy. And then Tiva has given us the overview about the general toolbox and also about some innovations we put into these tools so that they might be useful rooms, useful tools, let's say, to support the ESG business model innovation processes. And so now we are happy to receive your questions, experiences, and contributions, which might also help us to further development our ESG business model innovation program. Yes, I see there is a question. Let's see. Yes, Janos.
Yes, hello everyone. Hello everyone. I hope you can hear me well, right?
Yes, hello. Welcome to our webinar. Hello.
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for your presentation. It was really insightful for me. I'm an international business student and I'm just writing my master thesis on ESG. Would you recommend me any materials or website where I can find reliable information for my research, maybe?
Yes, thank you, Janos. Good question. The material, maybe Frank, can you say some words to that?
Yes, of course, the material we developed, first of all, will be fully available. So this is part of our project that whatever we develop has been or will be made public. And for this purpose, we have already developed a website of our Erasmus project. So if you want to, please, I think Janos was your name, send us an email. We will provide you with the website address. And on this website address, we again outline our project and you'll find basically all the resources, the ones which have been developed so far. For example, the last webinar, this one we'll put on, but also, as Tibor said, the handbook, which we will publish, and some other tools will all be put in the months to come or weeks to come on this website. So thanks for this question. Everything we do, of course, we want to give you, then we may want to make it available. Please contact us. We will give you the website address, and then you find all the resources which is already now available or you can find in the future, Janos. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, and all the best for your thesis, Janos.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I'll get you in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there some other questions in the room? Yes, we have one more here. It is Dr. Matus.
Yes, I'm also Janos, which is a very, very typical name in Hungary. I'm a business consultant, and actually I'm very, very interested about your personal impressions and experiences speaking with ESG champions. What do you think? How do they develop and make their ESG strategy on the basis of materials? What you prepared, and I think will be very useful for them, or rather they would spontaneously or organic development what they followed, or what was your experience when you had interviews with them?
Yes, so thank you, Janos, for these wonderful questions. Actually, you're right. We have in our process, we have already worked with real ESG champions. These are on the one side already smaller impact businesses, as we have shown this carpentry experience in the Philippines, which was created to add social benefit, to integrate young people, to enable them training. So these are champions by nature. And for this kind of people, where we had already many in our processes, we help them to leverage their business, let's say, to go a further step. If, for instance, this business had a social impact, we support them also to have maybe more ecological impact. So they use our structured method and can be easily used also by the management there then, and they can do in-house workshops. So it's an easy to use structured approach. And this is how we can support them. And then we have bigger corporations. We had also a wood trader, for instance, in our processes and in our trainings. And this is already a market leader with high sustainability, certified wood process origins, let's say, and also a kind of recycling program and CO2 measurement, a sustainability report. So, and the sustainability manager liked very much our method because it is a structured method to build in sustainability, the ESG factors, into their strategy, let's say, and they then integrate also the management, and then they also train the whole staff in in-house workshops, let's say, in value campaigns, so that the whole organization is involved and the whole organization's creativity goes towards this ESG business model transformation. So I think our method can be a wonderful tool and process for the smaller impact companies, as well as to the bigger corporations, because they find a way of integrating it to their core strategy. Is this answering more or less?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was interested in whether they were ESG champions by nature, but yeah, I fully agree that it can be an excellent tool for both the SMEs and the large ones. So yeah, thank you.
Maybe I can add some more words.
Timo.
Basically, our intention is to help the companies to really approach the problem in a structured way and holistically. So not just having ad hoc ideas what to do for a better world, but to really going through a procedure where all aspects and through different methods can be leveraged. And finally, it ends up not in an ESG project, but as a ESG DNA strategy. That means that the whole strategy of the company is the ESG is embedded into the overall strategy of the company and is not a separate project only. And I think this is very important, and this is maybe the change. And that's why we can even help those who already are champions, did a lot of things, but that were based on ad hoc ideas. And now with our help, they can go through a procedure to really make it a complete and comprehensive system.
Yeah, thank you for completing this. This is really our aim, and our motivation is to build in ESG elements into the core strategy of businesses, and then this will help them also to become these champions and market leader in terms of ESG, and at the same time, of course, boost their competitive advantage. Thank you. There was another question, another person, and there was in our chat something written. Don't know if someone can open it. Don't find it so easily.
Yeah, it was Julio who mentioned that he's interested in the material as well.
Okay. Yes, we answered.
Yes, Michel, thank you. For everyone else, Michel was writing, thank you for a very insightful and practice-oriented presentation. It was great to see these very useful tools applied for the common goods. He would like to ask me about my experience, the response of hotel guests. Do you have data showing how many or who customer segment responds and participated in these environmental initiatives, and how many hotel participated? So yes, on the one side, we have the hotel guests. As I said, the circular economy requires demand and supply. Supply is, of course, where does the products come from, and demand, it's a customer in the end in hotels. When, for example, the initiatives of Hotel for Trees got implemented, we actually saw an increase in the number of people who were skipping the housekeeping. So it went from 25% in a Belgian small chain that have 3 hotels. It went from 25% up to 32%. That means that implementing Hotels for Trees, more people are actually willing to plant tree and to skip housekeeping. We also saw that, for example, in the business world, there is more and more attention if you have the green key criteria or the green globe. So now more and more business trips require hotels to have an eco certification. If you don't have an eco certifications, you are already losing jobs, losing customers, basically. And also Booking.com put a survey out, and they said that actually 70% of people are searching for eco-friendly stays. However, if you look at the survey more in details, they were not ready to pay more, which means that an eco-friendly stay or an eco-friendly hotel should not cost more. It should actually reduce costs for the hotel and should reduce costs for the customer. And this is something very interesting. How many hotels participate? We can see that there are some pioneers doing already a lot. I would say that's maybe 5-10% of hotels. We have the early adopters who have eco certifications. We have 250 hotels for Hotels for Trees, for example, which is a small association. But we have many hotels already doing stuff. But we see that there's still a big part that is doing a few things for sustainability, but not enough. So there is a lot of opportunity and a lot of room for change. And we see a last percentage, maybe 15-20% of hotels not doing anything. Here I'm speaking about the Benelux region where I am based on. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and in case there's further information required, you can give us a message at the end. We will show you then the email address where you can orientate your questions and future contributions. And yes, and yeah, we're coming now to an end. Thank you so much for your active participation also. And now we are coming to the next, yeah, exactly, to the outlook, how we will continue in the future. In our next webinar, we will make a deep dive and share with you our expertise of designing an effective ESG business model innovation workshop. Because we discovered that this is really key, that this workshop opens the creativity, and at the same time it's structured towards the objective of generating a clear ESG development vision. So when consulting our next webinar, you will be able to design and run an effective ESG innovation workshop, and you will understand phases, roles, and also key ideation methods which we have applied successfully. You will learn best practices and avoid common pitfalls. And you can expect our proven workshop design, insights from our pilot courses, and the management training curriculum we have also created, as well as an explanation of the phases, roles, and tools which are, as explained, useful during such a workshop. And so for all those who want to boost their ESG success, this might be important because ESG business model innovation requires the involvement of stakeholders, requires an inclusive participation, innovation, and of course a lot of creativity in triggering the ESG innovation vision. So thank you for participating. And here we come to the here we have still the contact. You see it in the slide where you can write your messages. And the next step will be webinar 3, as I have just explained. We will publish our handbook then in the second half of this year, which you can also consult for free then. And of course, then we have another conference in Germany in September next year, where you also
It's already this year.
This year, yes. Thank you to my colleagues. This year in 26, we have then the conference in Germany. Yeah, so thank you so much for your participation. Thank you also to the nice and the great team here. And we're happy that you were here with us today, and together we could co-create some value for the planet and for ESG-oriented businesses. Goodbye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.